On this video, I will cover the combo feature of reWASD. The combos are basically macros. I have here Q as a key without bind. Here is the combo option. On the top section, we will have our macro. Here I have all the controller buttons you can use. I have all keyboard keys and mouse buttons. Mouse movements are not supported. Here at the top, I have two modes. Execute at once will play the macro from start to finish. Hold until release will be played as long as the keybind is pressed. I will start with one of the most common macros. Hold two keys at the same time. Here I add both bumpers. The tooltip confirms how all keys will stay pressed and will be released when Q is released. Testing the combo here will show both bumpers pressed as long as I hold Q. Changing the mode to execute at once, we will have a message saying the release of the keys will be added. We can see that each press event has a release event. The arrows go down for press and up for release. Testing this macro, we can see how each button gets pressed shortly in sequence. This will press, wait, and then release. Wait some more, then press, wait, then release. The delay between each event is constant. Here we can see the delay, which is 100 milliseconds. Making it 500 milliseconds will press each key for half a second and wait half for the next one. Let's say I want a longer delay between each key but a faster release. I will lower the delay to 50 milliseconds first. Then I can add a pause and drag it between the keys. Each key gets released very fast, but there is a delay between them. I can also hold a key while others are pressed and released. First, I drag the release of the right bumper to the end and change the delay. I get a warning if I use 0. I would recommend not to go that low. Let's keep it at 200 milliseconds. I will delete the pause for this example. Here it should hold right bumper while left bumper is pressed and released. I will also add A and B so we can see how it works. I move the release of the bumper to the end again. All of the events and delays will give the macro a time duration. It will show the total time here. Lowering the delay to 100 will update the total time. We can see the macro is shorter and the timing faster. When we use the execute at once mode, we will have an option to repeat the macro. Here we have the amount of iterations. This is going to control how many times the macro repeats. The total combo time also is updated. One tap of Q and the macro plays twice. I can also increase the delay between each iteration. We can see the total combo time is also updated. I will set again just one iteration. Here I can activate the toggle option. This will turn on the combo and keep it playing. I will need to press Q again to turn it off. It also stops the macro at any point and won't let it finish the current iteration. Any combo can be copied from inside the editor. The delay between keys won't be copied, so make sure to set it up. The combos work the same for controller. It's important to notice that when you have toggle on, there is no option to set iterations or delay between them. Here I have a simple sequence on left control. I start with C to slide, the mouse side button to unholster. Slide for 300 milliseconds and they jump. Pretty much a slide jump macro with unholster. I can mix keyboard and gamepad output only if the game allows it. While running, I can just press Control. I will create now a macro for Orbital Aim Assist. I choose a key that is not used and one that I can't press by accident. Here I add movement on the x-axis on the right stick. I will choose relative deflection, as this will add to the movement I am already doing. Absolute deflection will usually override any mouse or joystick movement. I start with a low value. This should be movement to the right. Next I add movement on the y-axis. A value of 5 will be movement up. Wrong one, I just remove it. Next should be movement to the left, which will be -5 on x-axis. Then I will add movement down, which is -5 on y-axis. Movement in the 4 directions will draw a circle. This circle is meant to give movement to the game so you can have aim assist when not actively moving or rotating the camera. I will choose to have a delay of 30 milliseconds between each movement. You can have a bit more. As the macro will loop, I will also add a delay at the end of the movement so it has a pause between the last movement and the first one of the next iteration. Then I turn on toggle so I can activate it and keep it running. Pressing P will turn it on, and pressing again will turn it off. I will use just 5 for now, but you can increase it more, depending on your in-game settings and curve. I will copy it to use on the controller tab. All the buttons are already in use on the game. There is no free one like in the keyboard, so I can place the combo on a shortcut. Here I choose a combination of D-pad down and right bumper. R1 on a dual sense. Pressing them at the same time will turn the combo on and off. I can also put the combo on a hold press so it only turns on if I hold the 2 buttons. Here is turned on, the camera follows a bit. When off, there is no movement. For more information, check the linked video. I will create now a combo for recoil control. You can create one for hip fire here, but I prefer not to have one. Previously, I created a switch on the mouse, right-click to the second layer. Here you would have the combo so it plays only when aiming. I will do the combo on the controller tab, as it works the same on the clicks or trigger. The switch goes here on the left trigger. Here I create the layer switch to hold and map the trigger again. The combo would go on the right trigger or your left click. First, let me check how it looks with no assistance. I try without any macro yet. I paste a simple pull down to the left, then change it to hold until release. I have first the trigger down to fire, followed by negative movement on the Y-axis to pull down. I use relative, not absolute. Then I have movement on the X-axis to pull left. This plays until I release the trigger. Unfortunately, if I move, the recoil no longer works. You need to choose a zero distance, like 50 meters, and make the combo for that range. Here I create the combo from scratch. Using combo will delete the previous mapping, which here is R2 or right trigger. First, I change the mode to hold until release. Then, I add a press of the trigger. Next, I add movement of the right stick on the Y-axis. The value used was found by trial and error. I lower the value from 0 to -28. This will be the down part of the movement. Made sure to use relative movement. Then I add movement on the sides, which is X-axis. Negative movement, so it goes to the left. The combined movement will move the stick diagonally as the red arrow shows. The previous macro had only one diagonal direction. I will use the volt to show how to change directions. This gun has a segment going up and a bit to the right, and then to the left, but with less upward recoil. Here is how it looks without any combo. I will start making the combo on the right trigger. Remember, it will work the same on the mouse click. I create movement to the left and down to control the first segment of the recoil pattern. Then I try on a fixed distance, in this case 14 meters.
Might be something good this way.
I will increase the strength of the downward movement. The first segment will play for a limited amount of time. For this, I add a pause and bump it to 850 milliseconds. I will add upward movement to lessen the down one. From the -22, adding 14 will leave the joystick at -8, which is still down movement, but softer. Then 5 to the right to compensate the left recoil. I try different values until I'm happy with the combo. I don't even play on controller. Here is the final combo values and a short explanation. First, I have movement on X to -1 and -22 on Y. Those two values will put the stick on a downward left position as it shows on the grid. The red arrow shows the movement to the first pair of values. This movement will be held for 850 milliseconds. On the second pair of values, we have 5 on X and 18 on Y. Because we are using relative deflection, the new values will be added or subtracted from the first. We can see the new arrows starting not from the middle of the cross, but from the last position. The second position will still be down, but now to the right. This new position will be on -4 on Y and 4 on X, adding the second value, 18, to the first one, -22, and we have -4 on Y. For X, I had -1 and I add 5, which gives me 4. This is represented on the blue arrow on the right. Both arrows on the right will draw the recoil pattern to combat the recoil showing below.